Hey guys, it's Mrs. Banks. I wanted to do a read aloud with you guys this week. This read aloud is a great chance for us to be looking at the main character. I know we've talked about characters before in class. They are the who the story is about. The other thing that we're going to be paying attention to while we read this story is the setting. That's where the story takes place. And as we're reading, we're also going to be paying attention to the events of the story, the things that happen throughout the story. And then finally, at the end of the story, there's a special message that the author has kind of hidden inside the story. This special message, I think, is really clear as I continue to read. When I'm reading the story, I'm going to ask that you pause and take a moment to think about some questions that I pose to you. You might even want to jot them down, like I do, on Post-it notes. These would be a really great opportunity for you to interact and think about what's happening throughout our story to the main character. It'll make coming up with a central message a lot easier. The other thing that I'm going to have for you guys to do this week is a graphic organizer. This graphic organizer is going to be posted online for you to use with another story that we're going to do. I want to go ahead and post this graphic organizer up for you guys so that you can see how I use it while I'm reading the story Sweety. Go ahead and take a moment to sit back and enjoy Sweety by Andrea Zuill. Sweety was awkward, even for a naked mole rat. Guys, the author includes a little something here at the bottom. I think it's kind of funny. Let's read it. Please note that naked mole rats are born without fur, but not without the love of clothes. The illustrator is grateful for this, since she didn't have to draw a bunch of highly embarrassing pictures. I always think that part's funny, because you get it? Naked mole rats, rats without clothes. Well, aren't you Grandma's little square peg? Her own grandmother called her a little square peg. Sweety didn't exactly know what that meant. I wonder what that means, boys and girls. Pause the video and take a moment to think about, what does Grandma mean by a little square peg? When you think you've got the answer, start the video again. But she did know that she didn't always fit in. I think that's what the author means here. That a square peg is different, and Sweety's a little different. Sweety could be intense. My doll's name is Ellie. She likes cupcakes. My doll's name is David. My grandma gave him to me. This is Sunshine. She wants to be a doctor. Who's your doll, Sweety? This is Warrior Princess Zorna, friend of the friendless, destroyer of evil, lover of chocolate beet cake with cream cheese frosting. Her favorite color is aubergine, and my mom made her for me. Oh, wow. She is intense. Look at her friends' faces. And people found her hobbies a bit bizarre. Would you like to come over to my house and help me identify fungi? No, thank you? All right, boys and girls, this is when I start to think about my retelling chart. I'm going to go ahead and show you where I add my characters, setting, and the beginning of my story so far. On my retelling chart, I always put my name first and the title of the story. Then I want to go ahead and add the characters. The characters I've met so far in this story were Sweety, her grandma, and her classmates. And if you think about where the story's taken place so far, it's mostly been at her home or school. So here in the beginning of the story, I realized that Sweety is a naked mole rat that is different from her other classmates. As you can see, I've already written that into my chart. Now I'm going to continue to read the story and see how I can add more events and continue my retelling. Let's continue the story. Occasionally, Sweety did things that others had a hard time comprehending, like the day she gave her book report through interpretive dance. What book is this? There were times when Sweety wondered what it would be like to be someone else, someone like Deb. Deb always said the right thing and had stylish friends. Best of all, she had beautiful hair. Sweety wanted hair like Deb's. Deb's hair. I really think that part's funny. This is a detail I want to add into my retelling chart. Boys and girls, if you notice, I added Deb to our retelling chart, and I added the event that Sweety wants to be like Deb to have stylish friends. Let's continue reading on to find out what else happens to Sweety. She thought maybe she would try a wig. Feels itchy. Then there were times when Sweety just felt like being Sweety. The best days were when Aunt Ruth visited. Aunt Ruth understood Sweety perfectly. She didn't think Sweety's hobbies were weird. Really, not a single one. This seems like a good place for me to add Aunt Ruth to our characters. And I'm even going to add the second event. Sweety's Aunt Ruth makes her feel perfect. Let's continue reading to find out what happens next. Sweety and her aunt loved going through old family albums. Sweety especially liked the pictures of her mom and her aunt when they were her age. I think Sweety looks just like her mom. On her most recent visit, Aunt Ruth talked about how she was called a square peg when she was young. Sweety was starting to understand what that meant. Aunt Ruth said that being different was one of the best things about her life, and that if you stayed true to yourself, you'd find your people. That made Sweety think. I'm going to add this event to our retelling chart. The third event is that Aunt Ruth tells Sweety to be true to herself, to find her people. Whatever that means. Take a moment to pause this video and think about what Aunt Ruth means by that. When you're ready, come back and enjoy the rest of the story. Were there really people out there for her? How would they recognize her? How would she recognize them? Was there a secret handshake she'd have to learn? She really hoped there was a secret handshake. Sweety wondered how many times she'd been close to one of her people and not known it. What if she stepped it up a notch? Would her people be able to spot her more easily? My name is Sweety. I like dancing, mushrooms, and rainy days. You too? Need to find your people? Maybe wear a match. Flyers are available. Or would she seem desperate? For now, she'd trust Aunt Ruth, continue to do her favorite things, and be herself. And maybe she'd try a couple of new hobbies just for fun. Whoa, very nice, Sweety. Look at her find new hobbies to enjoy. I think I'm going to add this part to the graphic organizer. Event 4. Sweety decides to be herself and learn new things. Sweety has really learned a lot during this story. Let's continue to read and find out what happens. After all, being Sweety wasn't so bad. They're beautiful. In fact, it could be pretty awesome. Well, aren't you a fuzzy little caterpillar? And who knew when someone else pretty awesome might come along? Oh my gosh! Isn't that the cutest little caterpillar? My name is Sandy. Your shirt is wonderful. I wouldn't mind having a shirt with a mushroom on it. I love mushrooms. My favorite is Gyromitra esculenta. It looks like a brain. Hi, Sandy. My name's Sweety. Would you like to learn a secret handshake? Yes, thank you. Oh, yay. Sweety met a wonderful friend in Sandy. I'm going to add her to our characters on our graphic organizer. And I'm going to add her to the end of our retelling chart, where Sweety finds a new friend in Sandy, just as awesome as herself. What an exciting ending. There's one other page that I think is super fun. Let's keep reading, and then we'll add our central message. For all those who've accepted their inner oddball. I think that's a really great end of the story. I hope that you enjoyed Sweety. Boys and girls, remember, we were also going to talk about the central message. I want you guys to take a moment and think about Sweety. Think about all the things that she learned. If you remember, the central message is when the author is giving a message to the reader, what they want us to learn. Think about it. What do you think that they wanted us to learn? Pause the video and come back and I'll show you my idea of the central message. So I have 3 ideas that I think might be the central message. I think that the author is trying to tell us to be yourself. But I also think that they want us to know that it's okay to be different or to be your own special kind of oddball. What did you think the central message was? Was it similar to mine? Or was it totally different? Let me know in the comments.